I have done several regressions, and I can tell you each one was a different emotional experience. Each one led to a deeper healing in my heart, mind, and soul, and even my body at times. Each regression gave me a feeling of confidence and awareness of not only my connection to the spirit world, but that I am an eternal soul, and that every time I choose, I have the opportunity to grow. Hello and welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I'm also lovingly known as RCA. Nice to have you along the journey with us today, my friends. We're finally wrapping up this series on past lives, and it's been a great deal of fun for me. And of course, we're going to welcome into our studio our producer, Mr. Sean Kilgore, for his special segment.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here as always. Welcome back to Experience of the Soul, friends. Before we jump in, it is time once again for This Week for the Soul, where our theme is bridges. So some bridges are built from steel and stone, while others are built with kindness and understanding and forgiveness, or simply the willingness to listen. This week invites us to notice the bridges in our own lives and maybe even become one for someone else.
Sweet.
Isn't that nice? Yeah. We begin today when many Christians are observing the feast of Saint Bartholomew, one of Jesus's apostles. So tradition remembers Bartholomew as someone who's willing to follow truth wherever it led.
Yeah.
He reminds us that faith isn't about having every answer. It's about remaining open enough to keep learning, to keep growing, and to keep saying yes to what is ours to become. Curiosity may be one of the most spiritual qualities that we can cultivate in our lives.
Beautiful, beautiful. Amen to that.
Yeah. This week, many Muslims around the world begin observing Mawlid al-Nabi. This is honoring the birth of the Prophet Muhammad. While traditions vary across cultures and communities, the occasion is often marked by gratitude, generosity, and remembering a life devoted to compassion, mercy, and service. Different traditions often point us toward the same timeless values.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah.
Kindness, humility, and love.
In past lives.
Yes, in past lives. Yeah.
Just saying.
Right. This week also invites us to remember one of humanity's most painful chapters through the International Day for the Remembrance of the Slave Trade and its Abolition.
Oh.
So, remembering history isn't always about living in the past. It's about choosing a future with greater compassion, justice, and understanding. Healing often begins when we're willing to remember and to learn and to grow.
So true. Well done, Sean. I 100% agree. Yes. Nice. Beautiful.
Our Just for Fun today is this one. These always make me smile. This one today is National Banana Split Day. This is actually Tuesday, so this will be tomorrow. I just ate a banana. Oh, look at that. Just throw some ice cream on there and you would have been celebrating the day, right? 3 scoops of ice cream, a banana, whipped cream, chocolate, and a cherry on top. Maybe this week is a gentle reminder that delight isn't frivolous, that joy has always been a part of the spiritual path. All right, your journal prompt for this week, friends, is where in my life am I being invited to build a bridge instead of a wall?
Amen.
Yeah.
Gosh, yes, I've had a real stretch with that recently, and I'm still working on that bridge.
Yeah.
I think, in the world today, I know I always say that, but I've never seen our country more divided, and even families more divided. And, even if we're the only one trying to build a bridge, I say we still try,
Yep, 100%. If we could just realize that healing is not about being right, it's about reaching across the space in between us and really trying to figure out how to move through it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so true. There's a gentleman at church who I dearly love, and he was a Green Beret in the war, and really served his country. And he's now, he does healing energy, and he says, I'm so sad about our country. He says, I turn on the news and I see how dumb the Republicans are, and then I see how dumb the Democrats are, and I come here to meditate, to remember how good God is and how good I am. And, that's really why I do the work that I do. I mean, very well said that, I understand more and more why Jesus said be in the world, but not of it. Because right now, everybody is begging you to choose the side. People, very spiritual people, have told me I'm out of my mind for, not speaking against Trump. And I said, I don't have to speak against somebody for people to be clear what I'm about. It's very, very clear what I'm about. I'm quite sure no one is confused, thinking I voted for Trump. So, for me, it's not about politics. It's about how do I want to walk through the world, and then my political choices come out of that. So, anyway, my friends, we have a choice every single day to build that bridge or not. And many people in my family, I will say, I voted for Trump, and I love them just the same. So.
Yep. 100% likewise.
Yeah.
Yep, very much the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not something that should be tearing us apart if we're,
It really, I agree.
Yeah. Friends, whatever this week holds for you, I hope that you'll make room for a little compassion, a little curiosity, and the courage to become a bridge wherever you're needed most. And with that, let's move into today's conversation where we're going to continue. We're going to complete the questions, the 5 questions that everyone asked, which is great. I mean, that's good. We had this thought that we would take it all in one episode, and it ended up being 3 episodes, but that's okay. Yeah.
Well, it's a really deep topic, and I didn't want to I didn't want to rush it because I feel like, I deal with that on Sunday where I only get 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And it's fun for me to be able to go deeper, and it really honors the topic better, quite frankly.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. So today we are going to answer that question. We've already talked about past life regressions in both of the previous episodes.
Yeah, we've mentioned it.
But let's, if you could go a little bit deeper into exactly what it is. What is the, because I've never done it. So my biggest curiosity around it is, what is the process? Is it guided meditation? Is it more therapy, or is it different for each person?
That's great.
So we'll begin there. Yep.
You got it. So that is a lot of fun to talk about and to share, because it is not talk therapy. It is not hypnosis. What is so amazing about past life regression, the way I have participated in it and the way I have been trained in it, is that your soul in its divine wisdom knows how to get there to the place you need, but you do have to have a skilled facilitator, somebody to guide you, because you're moving into what's called an altered state or a non-ordinary state of consciousness, because you're really in the spirit world when you do the work. So I think a lot of people think that past life regression is like looking at a storybook. It's very romanticized. I think people go, oh, that would be cool to do a past life regression. Let me go get hypnosis and, get this. And there are those methodologies that will guide you that way. The issue I have with those methodologies is it doesn't involve healing, and the deep spiritual work gets trivialized, in my view, when you're just taking a trip down memory lane. And I find that the people who facilitate what they call past life regression is not really regression. It's more hypnosis, where the practitioner is either implanting their idea or taking one memory of yours and guiding you through it. And I think no one can tell you your past lives really but yourself, unless you're dealing with a very, very, very elevated state of consciousness. And somebody who took a weekend workshop on how to do regressions is not that person. So I want you to be very, very cautious about doing a past life regression, but the process is, usually you're lying down, there's a facilitator that helps you, and you change your breathing method. The facilitator only guides you only to the point of getting you into that state, and then you are then saying back what you're experiencing to the facilitator. And then the idea is that the facilitator helps you not only view the life, but there's a great deal of emotion involved because you're experiencing oftentimes the time of death or near time of death where a lot seems to come to a head, and you see all the ways that you're carrying this past life into your passing. And so it's fraught really with a great deal of emotion. There's often tears. Sometimes there's screaming. Sometimes there's fear. Sometimes there's crying. Sometimes you'll sweat. I mean, it's a very intensive process to do a past life regression. But if you're with a skilled facilitator, what's so amazing is that as you walk through the experience again, you get to choose a new way, and you get to offer or receive whatever is needed, forgiveness. And that peace really helps free that part to complete. It's almost like when we have this past life issue, it's almost like it's spinning out here to the side. And as you forgive, it's like the healthy parts get integrated and the unhealthy parts get released. So regression can be very, very helpful for releasing something from the past, but unless there is also the healing aspect to it, it's not really going to help you very much. Like just knowing a past life without helping you heal through it is not always very helpful. As a matter of fact, it can bring the trauma more closely to you and disturb you more. Before I knew a lot about regression, I had learned about, there was an aspect where somebody said you can guide yourself through, and all this other stuff. And I really would not recommend that at all. So if you are interested in doing a past life regression, I want you to reach out to me send us an email, and I will get you to a facilitator. And this is also not something that can be done online. You need an in-person facilitator to really help you, be guided through that. If you've had bouts with mental illness, I would not recommend a past life regression for you. There are what are called contraindications to doing this type of deep, deep soul work, and it is not to be taken lightly. A lot of people think, I can just go view my past life. But my friends, the real work is a lot different than that. And yes, you will go into the past lives if you have a proper facilitator. But the last thing it is like a happy trip down memory lane. You see traumas, you see hurt, but the beauty is you also glimpse a little of heaven because the healing that is made manifest. So it's like with the right facilitator, I can highly recommend it. Without the right facilitator, do yourself a favor and just stay in observance mode of yourself. See how you believe past lives might be influencing you. A therapy session, a counseling session, I would highly recommend. But, being an observer of yourself can be very, very powerful. So if there's not somebody in your area we can find, I can help you still do healing work, and it still will impact past lives through the use of forgiveness, through the use of guided imagery. So we can do a lot of work, even if you can't do a regression. And you don't have to do a regression. But can a past life regression be helpful? Yes, it can. But I want to encourage you to seek out a real facilitator and not somebody who just has a table up at the local spiritual fair. You need somebody who's skilled, who can help guide you, the right way so that real healing can be made manifest for you. But my work with people is either on the phone or online, and we can do a great deal in guided imagery. There are times where I do in-person sessions for healing, for regression, and that can be arranged by appointment. So I want to encourage you to seek your heart and see what might be guiding you. But if you just want to do it because you're curious, that is not the right reason to do it. The reason to do past life regression is because you're ready for deep healing. there's an issue you keep coming up against that you've not been able to heal through talk therapy and other ways, and you may need to go back, and do this work. So I encourage you to do it. And I believe, in fact, that healing is possible for you. And I believe that knowing about our past lives can be in and of itself healing, because it helps us give context for what's going on in our lives. I want to caution you to not blame past lives on your current situation. I encourage you not to blame karma on your current situation, but in fact to see, how can I heal through this by knowing this information and by seeking guidance and support from a trained professional. If you're working simply on your own, we did a show a while back called The Observer Self. And the idea of the observer self is when you are bumping up against something relationally with somebody and you feel like, gosh, every relationship I have, I'm overreacting, or every relationship I'm in right now is frustrating me. What you want to do is begin journaling what happens, and then go back, read that journal, and see if you can see what you're doing in the behavior. And that will help you a great, great deal, getting an insight into your own behavior. So you can do a great deal of your own healing, but if you want a regression, you get with, a proper facilitator. So I want to mention again, we talked last episode about dreams. If you start to have dreams that are very vivid, and, like if you wake up in the middle of the night, have your phone nearby, record a voice memo, and then as you go back later, write that dream down. And again, pray with it, meditate on it. And then I would seek out the help of a professional like myself. And if I cannot help you, I have a list of incredible dream analysts who can help you in this analysis. My friends, what I want to assure you of is that healing is possible. I believe nearly anything is healable. The show title for this week is Past Lives and Future Healing. And when I was first learning about the impact past lives have on this lifetime, I learned of a teacher named Cynthia Brown. Now, Cynthia Brown has since passed, but she was very well known. She was one of those that was writing a lot of books. She was going on Oprah and all of, these talk shows and things. She had a wealth of experience with clients in working with past lives. And one of the pieces that I learned from her has helped me in my own therapeutic work, and it's helped me help others, which is that sometimes physical ailments can reoccur in this lifetime that happened in past lives, even though in this life there's no actual event that happened. Am I making sense, Sean, as I say this? That and I'm going to give you some examples.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. So one example was this guy. It was right after he hit 40. This is one of her cases. And in the back of his neck, he felt as if he was hit with an axe, like literally like hit with an axe. And he kept saying, it's like somebody hit me with an axe. And somebody said, that's nuts. He went to the doctor. They could not find anything wrong, and such as that. Well, he had an appointment with Cynthia Brown, which, by the way, took years to get on her waiting list because I was on her waiting list. I think my wait was 1.5 years. But anyway, when she took him on a past life regression, he discovered that, in fact, he was killed in his last life by an axe. And by going and doing this past life regression with her, he could, do the healing work in the spirit world, and he was pain-free going forward. This is somebody who went to multiple doctors. The doctors were like, we don't know what's wrong with you. They were saying, is it all in your head? And he's like, I feel like I'm, like there is something back here. So that is an extreme case, but that there were many other cases, backaches, headaches, eye issues, all kinds of issues that when she took them into that state where they could remember a past life, something would happen this life, and it was often like they were at the same age or it was a similar situation. And it's like it was so imprinted into their soul's memory that they would feel as if something had happened in this lifetime, but there was no physical event that happened this lifetime. And I mean, there were hundreds of cases I read over and over and over. And she has a book called Past Lives, Future Healing. You can read about it for yourself. In some cases, people even had scars and they said, well, I don't even know why I have the scar. I don't remember anything this lifetime. There are things that are very, very difficult for our conscious mind to understand because they're of the spirit world. And so what I know about this discovery that our past lives might be influencing this life, that it's not something more to work on, as people say in some pejorative, but in fact, it is a window into your possibility of healing. And that's what I love about it. I love that my knowledge of what has been before might give me an indicator into what I can heal this lifetime. I have done several regressions, and I can tell you each one was a different emotional experience. Each one led to a deeper healing in my heart, mind, and soul, and even my body at times. Each regression gave me a feeling of confidence and awareness of not only my connection to the spirit world, but that I am an eternal soul, and that every time I choose, I have the opportunity to grow. This knowledge, the reason I've talked about past lives and future healing, is that I think sometimes we don't understand the tools available to us in our healing journey. It's not just prayer. It's not just meditation. It is not just singing and going to church. All those things are excellent. It is not just yoga. It is not just a physical activity, but it is spiritual knowledge and awareness of who we have been combined with who we are seeking to be. I shared, I think on the first show, as we talked about all this, about my connection to my grandfather's journey. And I think I said something like, I don't know if I'm him reincarnated, but if I'm not, I do believe I am completing something of his journey and his soul's journey for my family's lineage. And it helped me make peace with the fact that I was called to be a minister. I was destined to be a minister, and that this is not a punishment, but a gift in knowing this. I can relax. I can be at peace. I don't have to wonder, should I be something else? I love to do the podcast, which is an online ministry. You see, and everything I do, I'm ministering all the time. And the knowledge of that potential past life connection brought me a great deal of peace. It didn't give me something more to work on. It gave me peace. It gave me a connection to what was, and it also fueled my energy and my forward movement in this lifetime. So I wanted to give you another tool, an indicator. If something is coming up for you physically you can't figure out, there might be a past life indicator. There may not be, but there might be. And that in most physical issues that we have, there is most often, if not always, some emotional component. And believe it or not, there's a whole branch of medicine now. It's called psychoneuroimmunology that studies this very thing. How do the emotions connect, impact, or inhibit your healing? What I'm speaking of are very large ideas. They also encourage us to be responsible co-creators of our life and world. Knowing that we have past lives can be a tool to help us discern what is happening in this life and why, and maybe a little window into our healing. If there's something on the physical world you can't figure out, you keep going to doctors, they can't figure it out. You've tried all these other things. Maybe there is another indicator of something else going on. Might be time to investigate that. Might be. This could be a window of opportunity for you to heal very, very deeply. Often when things manifest physically, we've been working with them for a very long time in spirit. So, my friends, my hope for you is that this gives you courage, that it gives you awareness, and that it inspires you to do the deeper soul work where you are listening to the dream state. You are paying attention to your emotional nature as it goes up and down when life happens or relationship issues come up. Maybe there's a tension or maybe there's an overreaction. I want you to have the awareness and the tool to be able to differentiate, well, is this my stuff? Is this some past life karma issue I'm bringing in here that needs my attention? Do I need some support in healing this complex I have about myself? Am I acting unaware and am I creating this issue and calling this to myself because of some past energy I'm still holding on to? I hope you will look at this. I hope you will think about this. I hope you will be more mindful as you walk through the world that we are not just what's happened in the last few years or even this lifetime, that you are an eternal soul, as the Bible says. You are called to move forward on the soul journey. And that one of the ways we do that is by our awareness of what is coming up, what might be from this life, and even what might be from before. That said, my friends, if for some reason this feels like a heavy lift for you in studying this, just move on. It's okay. It may not be time in your journey to do that, but I hope some of the things I've talked about have helped you become more self-aware and that you can observe yourself and your behavior rather than being controlled by your emotions. Because we see this being played out on the national and certainly international stage, that leaders are acting as children. They're letting their emotions rule their decisions rather than higher thought, rather than mindfulness and active spiritual awareness, rather than their connection to God or the Christ. So, my friends, this is our hope on the show. This is what we've been about from the very beginning, that we seek to live from soul, from the most healed place that we know. Yes, we do this through prayer. Yes, we do this through meditation. We do it through studying our Bible and learning about other spiritual traditions. We do this through affirmative prayer. We do it through singing, through worshiping together. And yes, even by investigating what might have happened before that may be influencing us now. We're honored to support you in this. Our hope is that you grow in your awareness of God, that you grow in your awareness that you are consciously co-creating your life and world. And our prayer for you is that you wake up to the good that God is. You wake up to your divine nature even more as you grow and as you heal. So, my friends, thank you for joining me for this Past Life series. It's been fun to bring it to you. I look forward to seeing you next week, and blessings on the journey.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Experience of the Soul with Cynthia Alice Anderson. If this message resonated with you, we invite you to share it with someone who might need it today. The show is made possible by listeners like you, and we're grateful for the community that keeps these conversations available for everyone. You can learn more or contribute to the show at cynthiaaliceanderson.com/donate. Produced by Kilgore Creative and a production of the Soulworks Group, Incorporated. Until next time, take good care.